Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about dandruff. Dandruff is super common. Almost everybody's going to experience some of it at some point in their life. And as a dermatologist, I treat it all the time. In the dermatology clinic, it's usually more severe when we're seeing patients for this reason, and we call it seborrheic dermatitis. Seborrheic dermatitis is essentially severe dandruff. So there tends to be a lot more flaking and scaling. But because this is so common, there's lots of ways to treat it that have been approved for over-the-counter use. But how do you know what to use and how to use it? Well, that's what we're going to cover today, is not only the best ingredient to use. I'm going to list some of my favorites that are available over the counter, but then stick around till the end because I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that you can use these ingredients to actually make them work for you. So hopefully you don't have to come and see me in the clinic. You can save some money by staying home and getting products that fix the problem. But if you need a dermatologist, you can always come and see me or somebody in your area. If the problem does not resolve with over-the-counters, let's jump into the topic and kind of see an example of some pretty bad dandruff. There's a lot that they're peeling off with the comb, just cakes and cakes of this. This is really significant dandruff. So much there. So there was so much dandruff in that video example. It had really caked up and they physically had to remove it. But how do you prevent yourself from getting to that point? Well, it requires early and frequent intervention, meaning you've got to treat it because dandruff is a chronic condition. There's not necessarily a cure for it. So once we find a routine that works, I do recommend sticking with it so that you don't have a flare-up that you have to try to tackle again by using maybe more additional products and things like that. One more thing to touch on before we jump into my favorite products and ingredients is what causes dandruff. One of the things that contributes to it is a little yeast that lives on all of our skin from the family Malassezia. Malassezia yeast probably live on just about everybody, and in some people they overgrow and cause a lot of irritation. Some people react against them more briskly, so they get more inflammation, and all of those things can contribute to dandruff. Sometimes there's hygiene issues, but not in all cases for sure. So it's not necessarily that you're not washing your hair enough. You just have to wash your hair with the right stuff. So knowing a little bit about dandruff and some of the things that cause it, here are my 5 favorite over-the-counter ingredients that can help to treat dandruff. Number 1 is coal tar. Yes, coal tar. Coal tar has been around for a long time, and believe it or not, it can be used in several different conditions of the skin, most notably seborrheic dermatitis or dandruff. Also, we sometimes use it for psoriasis and other scaly conditions of the skin. It has antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties, and it can slow the rate at which your skin builds up and clumps together. So coal tar can be an effective preparation. One product that has that in it over the counter is called T-Gel. That's made by Neutrogena, and it's a shampoo that you can use in the shower. It can be purchased at home. One thing to be aware of when it comes to using a coal tar preparation, whether it's T-Gel or some other brand, is that coal tar can be harsh on lightly colored hair. It may cause it to turn a little bit darker. So you need to be aware of the potential to change your hair color if you have very fair, light colored hair. Additionally, some coal tar preparations really don't smell great. So take that into consideration, that you don't want to use this and then go, and if you're working in a job where you're really close to people, it could have an odor that some people may find unpleasant. Some of them will try to mask that, and those are a little bit more palatable to use. But before you buy a great big thing, ask your dermatologist if they maybe have a sample. We often have samples of T-Gel in my clinic. The next ingredient that I'm going to focus on is salicylic acid. Salicylic acid we've talked about many times on this channel for lots of different things, including acne. It's a beta hydroxy acid, and it definitely plays a role in having scaly scalp conditions like dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis, and even psoriasis. In preparations to treat dandruff, it acts as a keratolytic to help dissolve and get rid of all of those excess flakes. It'll help to remove them from the scalp, and it can have a soothing and cooling effect upon the way that your scalp feels. Some of my favorite brands that include salicylic acid will be Dercos Anti-Dandruff Shampoo, and other brands like First Aid Beauty have a salicylic acid scalp solution, so it's something that can be dropped onto the scalp after shampooing in a leave-on solution. But there's many different shampoos that contain salicylic acid whether on its own or in combination with other actives to treat dandruff. Number 3 on this list is selenium sulfide or selenium disulfide. Essentially, these are the same, but they may be labeled differently depending on the brand that you're purchasing. Selenium disulfide has antifungal properties, so it can help to kill and get rid of some of that yeast that grows on the scalp. Certainly going to be helpful if yeast colonization is contributing to your seborrheic dermatitis or your dandruff. It can also help in and of itself to remove some of those excess flakes, and in the right preparation can help to give you several weeks of anti-relapse control. Brands that I prefer that have selenium disulfide are going to be things like Dercos Anti-Dandruff Shampoo, which we mentioned before. It does have salicylic acid in it as well. And as a disclosure, I have done a partnership with Dercos on TikTok, but they are not sponsoring this YouTube video. Also readily available over the counter are going to be things like Selsun Blue, which you've probably seen. That has selenium sulfide in it also. And then Head & Shoulders Intensive Treatment is going to have other ingredients, but it does also include selenium sulfide or selenium disulfide. Next up on the list is zinc pyrithione. So zinc pyrithione is an antifungal, antibacterial type of ingredient, and it can really help to calm down an irritated scalp by removing some of those excess bacterial or fungal colonizers that just don't need to be there. Zinc shampoos tend to be really well tolerated and not cause a lot of excess irritation. Some recommended brands that include zinc in their preparations would be like First Aid Beauty. I didn't know that they made shampoo until they sent this to me. I know them more for some of their skincare products, but they also make a number of hair care products. So they have a zinc shampoo, and that can be paired with a salicylic acid scalp solution that they also offer. Head & Shoulders, Free and Clear, and DHS Zinc are 3 other brands that have zinc pyrithione in it, and they all can do a great job to help remove some of that excess scale and to reduce the number of yeast that live on the skin that can contribute to dandruff. And number 1 on this list is Ketoconazole. Ketoconazole is an antifungal agent, so it does help to reduce the number of yeast that live on the skin that can contribute to your dandruff. Over-the-counter Ketoconazole is in Nizoral shampoo as a brand name. You can pick this up at most drugstores, and other shampoo brands may include it also. You can get this in a higher strength by going to a dermatologist or family physician and asking for a prescription for Ketoconazole shampoo. The prescription does work a little bit better than the over-the-counter brand, in my opinion, but you have to weigh those costs. But it is a generic medication, and so oftentimes it is pretty affordable if you have a prescription. Now that we know some of the best ingredients to look for when choosing a shampoo to treat dandruff, we have to talk about some tips on how to make them the most effective in your scalp care routine. First off, always start with one product and use it consistently for a period of several weeks to really understand if it's going to work well for you. I would caution you against grabbing 5 different types of shampoo and using them on your scalp every day. It's more likely to cause dryness, and especially if you color your hair, it could kind of strip out some of the color. So start with one product, use it consistently, and see if there's improvement before you jump ship and go on to another product. If you'd like to combine multiple ingredients, use different application methods. For example, use a shampoo and then use a scalp solution, like a salicylic acid-based scalp solution, so that you can get different delivery mechanisms there rather than stripping your hair or scalp of all the oils from repeated washing. Another tip that helps is to make sure when you put that shampoo on the scalp to know that it is a scalp treatment. It's not a hair treatment. So if you have longer hair, you don't necessarily want to run that all the way through your longer hair, because it's not there to treat your hair, it's there to treat your scalp. So you want to rub it into the scalp with your fingers, massage gently, and then leave it on for 5 to 10 minutes before you rinse it off. I know that can seem like a long time when you're in the shower, but if you want to wet your hair, put it in there, and then turn the water off and go and do another part of your morning routine, you can do that and then go back in the shower and rinse it off and finish showering. There's different ways you can try to do it, but these medicines are most effective after they have 5 to 10 minutes of contact time with the scalp. That's when you're going to find the best results. Now, some individuals will get dandruff in their scalp, but other times it also comes down onto the face. So seborrheic dermatitis can affect the eyebrows. It can affect what we call the nasolabial folds. It can affect, even coming down onto the chest. It is possible to use these shampoos as a face wash and as a body wash, and ideally it's good to leave them on for a few minutes as well. Most of these shampoos will be just as effective by using them every 2 to 3 days as using them every day. So you can save a little money by not using them every day. Oftentimes 2 to 3 times a week is all you need, whether you're washing your scalp or washing your face. Just be aware that these are formulated for the scalp and sometimes could cause a little bit more dryness or irritation if you're using them on the face. So always make sure that you're balancing that out with a moisturizer. And if it's just too strong, you shouldn't use it on your face, and you should talk to a dermatologist to see if there are other options that you could get, like a ketoconazole lotion that you could apply to the face that would be a lot softer on your skin and your skin barrier. So there you have it. Those are my favorite over-the-counter ingredients to treat dandruff and some tips on how to use them most effectively. Let me know if you have other questions and other topics you'd like me to cover here on this channel. Some other things that we'll be covering in the near future include wart treatment and some tips on handling eczema. Look forward to seeing you guys back next time, and have a great day.